Hello, I am Centimus Prime, and here I will be reviewing the LEGO Creator set number 31130 Sunken Treasure Mission. Now, first and foremost, we are going to be taking a look at the minifigures in this set. Well, minifigures if you count the skeletons as minifigures as well. Well, we are. Let's say minifigures. We can take a look at this one first. So here we got a close look at the diver in this set. She looking pretty good. I will say she does have something that does stand out for me for this minifigure is that hairpiece. Haven't seen a hairpiece quite like this one before. I kind of like it. Now, as far as the wetsuit goes, it does have a pretty nice torso print. And here's how the print looks from the back. The torso is molded in this nice silver color, which is nice, with the dark blue arms and gray hands. And not really much to talk about the legs. They're just your standard minifigure legs, no printing, and done up in the dark blue color. Pretty good. Now we can take the hairpiece off, take a nice look at the minifigure face. And it might be hard to pick out through the camera, but there are a little bit of freckles in the printing, which is nice. And turning it around, you do get an alternate expression. Very neat. Very neat indeed. Quite a nice little minifigure. Now, taking a look at the other humanoid figure, we do get a skeleton diver, which is quite interesting. It is quite interesting to get a minifigure skeleton. Quite nice. Now, the skelly is wearing some diving equipment, such as the wet feet flippers. You also get oxygen tanks, which is I'm not sure if I just don't have the head fully on or whatever. It is a little loose. I believe these oxygen tanks are also featured on the the classic space minifigures. I think it might be interesting. And you do get a look at the helmet with the goggles and what appears to be a snorkel on the side. Very nice. This thing can hinge up. It's done up in this nice translucent light blue plastic. You can take that off and exposing a skeleton face. You can take the skeleton face off, the helmet off, to get a good, nice look at that skull. Turn you around, there's no alternate print because it's a skull. It's a nice, simple little skeleton, and you can take off all of the diving equipment and put it on our include minifigure, so you can put the diving equipment on the minifigure included in the set, which is neat. But for now, let's just leave this on. Or I guess we can leave this stuff aside and just leave our skelly like this. And we can set the diving equipment aside for now. But as far The skeleton goes, it's very nice. The legs can move back and forward really nice. The arms can move good. The head still rotates. I'm just real glad I have like a minifigure skeleton now. It's quite fascinating how these things are. Now with the minifigures done up on the side, let's take a look at our smallest build, which is this safe. So taking a look at our safe, it's very nice. I do like the look of this. It's mostly done up in this nice dark green color with this really neat gold trim. With this really neat gold accent color. Very nice. And of course there is some plant life. There is stuff growing on top of the safe because this set takes place underwater, and this safe was probably dropped underwater for a really long time, and of course sea life is probably going to grow on the stuff, but whatever. Got this nice circular door with this nice handle, like with this hand. I guess it's a handle. I guess it's like a handle thing that you open the door with. Now, speaking of which, you can indeed open the door. What's the safe like latch hinge is built up using a simple hinge mechanism. Not too bad. And there is space in there to fit some stuff, like the included treasure, hence the sunken treasure mission. And the safe does contain two gold ingots, very nice. It contains one of these heart-shaped gems, which I have seen in like Disney princess themes before, but it is nice to get it in this nice light blue color. And we also get, we get a couple of these like purple gems, which are very nice to look at. The set only shows one, but it does come with a spare, so it technically comes with two. I just put the second one in here just because more treasure. Like who would argue with more treasure? Am I right? But not that complex of a build. It's a nice simple build. It's a simple yet effective build. It's very nice. And heck, if you don't want this to just be underwater, you can take the extra stuff off and you can have this as a regular safe, so you can put it in like a city build or something, which the option is there and the option is nice. But for now, let's just put that stuff back on and let's have our skeleton just hanging out there for now on our safe. Set that aside. And let's take a look at our next build, which I'm going to talk about now, which is going to be the octopus. The octopus is nice. I do like the color. No, it does look interesting. It does look how I would expect an octopus to look, which is nice. It even has all 8 legs. Very nice. Very neat. Taking a look at the underside of the build, and you can see that it's very pink. You have all these little 1x1 studs representing suction cups, which is nice. You have like this pink area here, and you even have like this cone piece that represents the beak part of this squid, because yes, these guys have beaks, even though they're an underwater creature. It's quite fascinating. Something I will note for the building process of this guy, though he does have some interesting building techniques, like with his, what do I call this, like head, like sack? Not quite sure what to call this, but this part, there are a couple of interesting building techniques with this, and even with here, how they pulled off the 45-degree angle, how they built these mixel joints in this 45-degree angle. I do think that was pretty nice. However, the set also has quite a bit of repetitive building, most notably in the eight arms. Because yes, each arm is built identical, which building 8 of the same build, it can get repetitive. Is easily the most repetitive part of the build. And after dealing with the repetitiveness of the legs, the rest of the build is very nice. Nice. The building part, this building technique I want to point out here is that you have this nice piece, but there's also an axle. Connected to it. Up in there, you have an axle hole. What you do with this is you attach it into here. You connect it by the axle. So there, you do that because meaning you can have these studs under here to build under it. So you can attach these parts onto it. It's quite nice. Now, moving forward to the front half of the octopus face, you do have a bit of burnt orange in its color scheme, and you also have these like rounded elements to make some facial details for the octopus. And yes, you can even articulate the eyes. The eyes can go back and forth, and you can rotate them to give him more expression in the eyes. Quite nice. It is quite nice. Now, in terms of articulation, yes, you obviously have all 8 of these legs, which is at a ball joint at the base, and you have a good amount of movement there. And you have a hinge down, and a hinge here, and a hinge here. Rinse and repeat 7 more times. And you have yourself the articulation for the octopus. And overall, the octopus is very nice. I kind of like it. But setting the octopus aside to talk about the other big build of this set for the main build of the set, the submarine. Now the submarine is very nice. It has a nice modern aesthetic to it. Very yellow. Very nice. It's a nice build. I did had a good time putting this together. I do look very nice. So starting from the bottom, you do have these headlight details down here, as well as the headlights, as well as these like giant spotlights up here, which is very nice. On the sides, you do get these large, like, got these like tank things on the side. I'm not sure if those are like air tanks or like compartments for like batteries or electronics or stuff like that. But you do have like these nice little like protective like cage parts to protect the parts under it. That's nice. And there's even a camera clipped to one of these bars, which is nice. One of these, like, it's nice. Nice. The rear has these propellers that can freely spin. Very nice. I do like how they use these steering wheel pieces as like this, as like that extra like bit of protection for the propellers to keep them from getting damaged, which is nice. And moving towards the front, you do get a couple of these robotic arms, which are very nice. And they can move around a good bit. And moving to the top half, there's a nice little bits of details. You get a little bit hints of yellow, but it's mostly nice and flat. You do get a little bit of detail up there. It's nice. Looking at the bottom, you can tell that it is very thin. That the build is very thin at the bottom, but gets wider, but gets longer as you go up, as you build up, which is quite fascinating to see. Hold on, what did I do? Okay. Like, you can tell that has like an upside down triangle shape to its main build. It's quite interesting. The robotic arms are nice. They're for articulation. They do have a ball joint at the base, so you can move them around a good bit. They have a hinge at this joint, so you can move those around, and you can also rotate these Exoforce hands 360, so you have that bit of articulation as well. No, very nice. A nice bit of articulation for the robotic arms. Now, looking at the front end of this build, it's very cool. You got this nice nice like dome like cockpit thing going on here, which you can open up pretty easily. It's on a simple double ratcheted joint, which you can hinge down to reveal the seat compartment of which the minifigure can sit in. So in here you do get this nice like chocolate bar like seat, as well. I will admit the back and headrest of the seat kind of looks like a candy bar to me. And it also has these control sticks, which you can hinge from side to side, and the ends of them are the mixer ball joint pieces, which are very useful. And of course, you can sit the minifigure down on this very simple. Well, you can just simply like sit her down and have her sit there as you fold the cockpit back in, and there you have the diver sitting in the submarine thing, and and you can have her like on exploration missions or on a sunken treasure mission. Very nice, and she can even like take pictures on the camera and stuff. All that kind of stuff. Flipping this build around and looking at the back, you do get this large round door, kind of similar to the one that the safe has, to a point where you can even grab this and you can even hinge it up, because just like the safe, it's also on a double hinge sort of system. Double hinge sort of way. Which is which is neat. However, I will admit the interior of this sub, while I'm gonna actually remove this so I can give you like a good look at this. Let's just move the light so we can get a good look at it. While it does have some nice little details, such as this gauge and stuff, I will admit it's quite interesting how these parts in these random colors are in here. You have this like large red brick in there. You have some of these bracket pieces that aren't doing anything. You have like this azure part just in there, and you have that like yellow axle hole brick just doing in there, not really doing much. It's a little bit of a garish mess in there, but that's alright. That stuff is doing a fine job of keeping this build stable. And it's quite an interesting choice how they used a Star Wars droid torso and arms as the hinge mechanism for the door. Quite interesting. Now something else, like regarding the build process, I actually do like about this is how these parts of the build are built upside down and are clipped in place. Whoops. Like, you can see that these parts are clipped in here, and they're also clipped into there. So these parts are built upside down, and so these are built, you flip them upside down, then you clip them in place, which is interesting. Quite an interesting building technique. I kind of like that. But closing that up, so I can give you a nice or actually, before I close this up, something that you can do, something that you could probably do is you can probably take the scuba gear and you can just drop it in there and then close it up, having it so she has the scuba gear in case she wants to go out and explore outside of the sub. The option is there if you want it. Now, take a look at the set as a whole. It's quite nice. Quite nice. I do like it. Now, let's just quickly dump this out. Do like it. Now, I believe this set retails for $35, I believe. And considering how much you get in this set, like just from the primary like box set build alone, I'd say that's like how do I say? I guess I'd say the price doesn't sound too bad. Because like I said before, you do get an awful lot in this set. Like I am quite pleased with the sheer amount of variety you get in this set. Like in this one set alone, not just the one set, not just considering that it's a 3-in-1, just this build alone, just going by one set of the just by going with one set of the instructions, you do get a large variety in this part of the build alone, this part of the set alone, because for this build you do get a nice simple yet effective safe build. You do get a minifigure and a skeleton figure. You do get a little bit of the diving equipment, which is neat. But you also get these two big builds, which are very different, because here you get because on this side you get a organic like creature sets, not sets. Well, it kind of looks like it could be it kind of looks like it could be of a set. It looks like it could be a set of its own. Interesting. And on this side, you also get this, which also looks like it could be a set of its own. It looks very nice. And all together, you do get this like really nice sort of playset sort of vibe, which is nice to see in a Lego set. Because you do get a really nice articulated octopus. You do get a very nicely built submarine with a minifigure and a little bit of articulation in the arms. You get a simple yet effective safe build. You get a skeleton and you even get a little skeleton figure with some scuba gear. So, as far as like this part of the set is, I do honestly recommend it. And here's another thing. This is just a third of what the set has to offer, because again, it is a 3-in-1, a creator 3-in-1 set, which means there are two other like builds. Well, I say builds because it is really 3 playsets in one, I think. Because you get multiple builds, not just with one set. You get it just within this one set, because you get. I'm starting to confuse myself. What I'm trying to say is, the set has there's a lot in the sets. You can, just this part alone, you get 3 separate builds. Just with this alone. I know this is a 3-in-1, but this is like a a literal 3-in-1. You get 3 separate builds just using the parts in the sets. Whereas in a more typical 3-in-1 set, you have the parts to make either one of 3 builds. This one, it gives you 3 builds right off the gate, and the other builds there, and the other builds there give you even more builds. So there is a lot going on with this set, and I do enjoy it. There's quite a lot to do with this set, and I do say it is easily worth the $35. Heck, maybe even $40. I say this set is pretty good, and the mock potentials that the parts have is also pretty good. I'm already thinking about like what builds I'm gonna do using the parts of the sets. And overall I do recommend it. And darn it, skeleton doesn't stand well on mousepad, like mat sort of thing. But enough of that. So like I said, it does come with lots. I believe I've already said that. Now, I am going to be covering the other 2 in this set, the other 2 like multi-builds in this set in separate videos, because this has already gone long enough. And I believe that would be it for this review. If you enjoyed this review, consider to like and subscribe, and maybe even comment if you want. And of course, I will be posting again sooner or later.